Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
We're celebrating today fascinating rhythm, an independent, funky, new and used record store that is so much more than that, is celebrating 25 years. Why Shakespeare Still Lives, a passion and talent for helping and positive punches at Genesis Boxing. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're inside fascinating rhythm that has been named one of Stuart McLean's favorite record and movie stores, music and movie stores. Stuart McLean hosts, of course, the popular Vinyl Cafe on CBC Radio. We're going to talk about that later today on Go Island, as well as have a conversation with Steve about what he attributes the success of this funky, community-minded record store to. Not easy running a music store in the digital world of big box retailers. But first, we're throwing things over to Kelly Robinson, a look at why hundreds of years after Shakespeare's death, the style, his writing, his approach, and his formula is so popular today. The Taming of the Shrew runs at Vancouver Island University Theatre here in Nanaimo, November 7th through the 16th. You can get tickets and more information at 740-60-100. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Steve Labishnik is the owner here at Fascinating Rhythm. We're on Commercial Street in downtown Nanaimo. This is actually your third location over the course of 25 years.
And hopefully the last.
Tell me a bit about where you were before this.
Oh, I was in Country Club Mall when I first opened in 1988, and for about 12 and a half years, and then moved downtown because the rents were getting too high in the mall, and I had faith in downtown. I thought it was going to get a little busier, and it's a slow process, but things are improving. And I was just located up the street about a block on the other side where the Flying Fish store now is,
right,
until about 8 years ago, and then we had to move down here.
Now, you are a success story. It's not easy for a local independent music and movie store to make it in today's environment and economy where everyone's buying online, everyone's buying digital, everyone's going to the big box retailers. What do you attribute the fact that you're still here to?
Well, partly to customer service and having music knowledge and depth of stock, really good variety or selection for customers. I guess mostly those things, and being able to shift with the changing times to try to compete against, yes, the people that are downloading for free.
Right.
I had to find out who was still buying music and then try to stock what they wanted to buy.
And there's been a bit of a shift. You think that when people want vinyl and they want the actual CD to hold in their hands, that they might be kind of old school? But a lot of your customers aren't. They are the new generation coming up, and that's a little bit surprising maybe. Well,
it is. I didn't see it coming at all. There have always been the hardcore record collectors who've always bought records, but now a lot of younger people in their 20s have started buying records this last couple of years. I'm not sure why, but it's become kind of a cool thing to do, and they really enjoy coming in and buying some of the old classics, the Led Zeppelins and Pink Floyds, for example, on record, as well as some of the new releases. Many of the new releases are coming out on vinyl now again, whereas 10 to 15 years ago, none of them were really.
Was there ever a point in your 25-year history where you thought you would have to close your doors because it was just too hard of a go?
No, it was never that dire, but when I moved downtown, things were very tight, once I moved downtown, things started getting better for the store. It's just more suited to a downtown location, and so I've been very happy with the move. Nothing against the mall. I had several good years there as well, but it was a great move to come downtown.
See, we're going to talk more a bit later about the success of 25 years of Fascinating Rhythm in Nanaimo. We're going to talk about its connection to the Vinyl Cafe on CBC Radio. And we're maybe going to look into a little bit of Steve's personal musical choices. And I'm just going to note that when Steve says he took a little bit of a risk and moved downtown at a time when downtown wasn't thriving, that's about when I came to Nanaimo. And it is people like Steve who believe in what can happen in the heart of a city, and they lead the way so that others can then feel more safe and more confident in choosing to do business in downtown Nanaimo. So there's a lot of great stuff happening here at Fascinating Rhythm. We'll be back with more after a short break. Still to come today on Go, art to help on the other side of the world, building the perfect sandwich and throwing a good punch. That's still ahead today on Go.
Did you know that I was the very first campaign manager for Frank Ney when he ran as an MLA in Nanaimo in the early 60s? And that was a challenge. That was my first introduction to politics. And I couldn't find a better teacher than Frank Ney. It was exciting. The only challenges we didn't quite make at that time. But Frank ran again, and he became an MLA for the city of Nanaimo.
You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Congratulations to Fascinating Rhythm, 25 years in business in Nanaimo, and it's easy to see why. It really is a gathering place for the local musicians and the music scene. They encourage bands in town to bring in their CDs and they'll sell them. The only thing they ask is that they let people know where they can buy those CDs. It's also sort of a ticket outlet for the local gigs and local performances in town. They're happy to sell tickets, and they're just a core part of the music scene here in the Harbor City. We're going to throw things down to Victoria now. James Green introduces us to an artist who uses her skills and her talent and her beliefs to help people in other parts of the world. We're here at Fascinating Rhythm in downtown Nanaimo, and out of approximately 100,000 titles here in the store, we've asked Steve to pick 3. What's this, and why'd you choose it?
What's at the front? That's the Stems. They're an Australian power pop band. Always been a favorite of mine. Really super catchy guitar pop music from the 80s.
Okay, excellent. You've inspired me. Next.
The Collins Kids. That's Larry and Lori Collins, brother and sister. He was about 12 when they started. She was about 15, 16. He played guitar, she sings, really rock and rockabilly. Super fun music. Again, from the 50s, those recordings.
Wow, just come on down for a musical education. And what's this one?
Betty Levette, a soul singer from the 60s, primarily those recordings. Wonderful, soulful, gritty voice, and she somewhat popular in soul circles, and well worth investigating her earlier tracks where she got it all started, as well as her most recent recordings. They're all really fine.
Okay. 3 of about 100,000 titles here at Fascinating Rhythm. We will be back with more, but right now we're heading to Campbell River because there is an art when it comes to making sandwiches. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're having a great time here at Fascinating Rhythm in downtown Nanaimo, celebrating 25 years of business in Nanaimo. Congratulations, of course, to Steve and the fabulous staff that make this place what it is. Someone else who is very prominent in Canadian culture, Stuart McLean, through CBC Radio, really took a liking to your store, and that happened, what, he just walked in the door one day, he was performing at the Port Theatre and went shopping, is that?
That's right. He walked through the door, kind of paused, had a little look around, and just exclaimed, "This is what I had in mind when I invented my fictional vinyl cafe. This is the type of store that I had in mind." So that was really nice to hear.
And he'd been in your mind too, because you knew that at some point your paths would cross.
Well, I thought it was only a matter of time. Certainly this store is fairly well known. It's got a good reputation, and he performs on a regular basis just a couple of blocks away at the Port Theatre. So I thought it was only a matter of time before he wandered in, or until word got to him that there was a store such as this close by.
Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you, I guess both personally and professionally, to have someone that you're a fan of, I'm assuming, be a fan of your store?
I was really proud, and as was my family, when he featured the store on a special program of his favorite record stores in Canada, and it seemed from the way the interview went and the things that he said that this perhaps was his favorite.
Okay, and to put you on the spot, because you're probably a bit humble, what are some of the things that he said? How did he describe, what are the characteristics that he witnessed and liked here so much?
I had a record cutting machine that he had many questions about from the 40s, where people used to be able to cut their own records at home off of the radio, or they could sing into the microphone and make their own records. So he was quite fascinated by that. And we just walked around the store, and he kept pointing at different items and asking questions about mostly the older items. He was also very curious about the rarest records we might have. And no, he was just really, really interested in the history behind a lot of the music.
Would you call him a friend now? He sort of drops in every time he's in town?
No, I haven't seen him for quite some time. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
And but still, I still get so many people coming in and saying, "Hey, is this a place that was on the Vinyl Cafe?" So still, it was a wonderful opportunity, and still very glad that he came in, and hope to see him again.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for doing what you do in Nanaimo, because you make a huge contribution to the music scene and the livelihood of our downtown core. We're going to head on up to Parksville. Genesis Boxing has been paying it forward for the past 4 years through physical fitness and engaging young people in healthy activities. Last year was a bit of a challenging year for the owner, Rick Ray, as far as health goes, but he's back in the ring, inspiring as he does so well. And in honor of that and in honor of him, we're throwing things over to Jocelyn Matwee for a look at a story on Genesis Boxing that we first aired back in February. Lots of great things happening in Parksville, Genesis Boxing being one of those. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. Congratulations once again, and thank you to the staff here at Fascinating Rhythm and the customers who drop by and bring the energy and keep small local business going here in our hometown. Before we go, it is officially now November, which is quickly becoming known as Movember. And Todd Jones, our camera guy and editor extraordinaire and star of Clocked and is participating this year. We have Shaw, Vancouver Island at Movember.com. We're going to start a little bit of rivalry with our colleagues in Victoria. Look at this guy. Look, he's baby face, clean shaven. He is going to go for the full on kind of handlebar. I don't know what you'd call it, but we're going to see how much hair he can grow on his face, under his nose over the course of November. You need to go online and support our very own Todd Jones. Will be giving you updates throughout the course of the month to see how he's progressing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's hair and aesthetics provided by Matteo Salon.